Lamed Gimel, Lamed Beis, and we're holding towards the bottom. If you remember, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai comes out of the cave a second time, 12 months later, and he sees a Jew that's carrying Medana Yasa, myrtle. What's this for? He tells him it's for Zachav V'Shamar. Says he tells his son, you see how beloved the mitzvahs are to Bnei Yisrael, to the Jewish people, and that relaxed him. Okay, we're starting. The line is Yosef Datayo, but we'll start from the words Shamar Pinchas Ben Yair Chasnei, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines up. Pinchas Ben Yair, the son-in-law of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, hears. He goes out to greet him. Now, in the Zohar, apparently, Reb Pinchas Ben Yair is not the son-in-law; he's the father-in-law. So some want to amend the Gemara to match that. So he goes out to greet him. Eily lebei banei. They go into a bathhouse. Havika orech le lebisrei. Reb Pinchas Ben Yair was massaging the skin of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. He was in the sand for 12 years or more, 13 years. He sees he has cracks in his skin. The sand was drying out the skin. Havikabachi. Reb Pinchas Ben Yair is crying. V'kanatru demois einei. And his tears were falling. And Reb Shimon was crying out from the salt that was the salty tears was dripping in the cracked skin. Woe is to me that I have to see you like this, with his skin in such a way. No, it's the opposite. You're lucky that you see me like this.
You should shut people's sound off.
Oh, okay. If you didn't see me like this, then you won't find the Torah in me like this. Originally, Shimon would ask a question. Pinchas Ben Yair was able to give 12 answers to a question of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. In the end, Pinchas Ben Yair would ask a question. Reb Shimon Ben Yochai Essen V'Arba Peruke. He would answer 24 answers. So, all the Torah that he gained while he was in isolation, in the Mara. Amar Reb Shimon Bar Yochai says, "Hail v'esrachish nisa ezel vasken milsa." Because I had a miracle, I survived. So let me go do something positive. Tiksiv, as it says, "V'yava Yaakov shalem," that Yaakov came complete after he was saved from Esav, and v'amarav shalom b'gufi shalom b'mayne shalom b'tirasei. That meant that his body was healed. He had his the money that he had earned, and shalom b'tirasei. He didn't forget his learning even through all his travels. What happened? Vayichanas b'nei Yair settles on the face of the city. Amarav. What does it mean vayichan? So there's two ways of learning this, but Rav says matbea tikkun. He did something good, but what's the word that? How do we know that he did? So Rashi says two pshatim. He says chen, that he did something gracious, or it could be from vayiken eschelkas asada. It says over there that he bought a portion. That vayiken could also mean that he did a tikkun, that he fixed something. He wanted to fix something for the world. So Rav says, what did he do? Matbea tikkun. He made a new currency. Apparently, that's a very important thing, to have a currency. Maybe it gave them some prestige. They have their own coins. In Rome, they would do a new emperor, which happened quite often. There would be like a new coin. That would be like a statement of some sort. Shmuel Amar Shvakim Tikkun Lehem. Shmuel said that he made a plaza, like a market area. Rabbi Yechon Amar Merchatzois Tikkun Lehem. This is Yaakov that's doing something positive for the locals. After the miracles, Rabbi Yechon says he prepared bathhouse. I'm not sure why each one said what he said. I don't know. Tiva de Bavel. I forget who said that. That was Rava, not Rav. Just reminds us of the things that Reb Shimon ben Yochai didn't like about the Romans, whether it was the Shvakim or the Merchatzos. Just it's on the same page. Anyway, Amar Ikem Milsa de Boila Tekuni. He says, "Is there anything?" Reb Shimon ben Yochai says, "Anything here that I could fix?" Amalei Ikem Duchta Dispe Suffolk Tamia. We have an area where there's a suffix. It could be that the area is tummy. In other words, there's a grave that's in that area that the kainim can't go. Obviously, tzar lekainim lakufe. It's difficult for the kainim to go around it. Ameriki inish the yada. Is there anyone here that knows? This chazakah that at one point this area was tahar. Amalei Saba. Kan kitzitz ben zakai turmasei truma. So this older person says, I don't think this is Eily Navi, as you'll see shortly. We've said before that Ahu Saba was Eily Navi, Daniel, but I don't think it's going to work over here. So this older person says that over here, Ben Zakai, which I guess is Rabbi Yechon ben Zakai, that was a Kayan. He kitzitz. He cut down turmasei truma. This is some sort of beans we used that was truma. Rashi says that he planted them and then he took them out. So notice he was regrowing. I guess he'd grow like shoots or something. He was regrowing them. An area in this area was growing truma produce, and so obviously this was not a cemetery originally. If Rabbi Yechon ben Zakai did that, it's only 2 generations earlier, right? Rabbi Akiva was together with Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Shua. They're students of Rabbi Yechon ben Zakai. This Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is a student of Rabbi Akiva. So Avadi Yunami Hachi. So Reb Shimon ben Yochai does the same thing. Now this is a very interesting Rashi here. Rashi says that he takes tourmasin, which is this type of bean, and he throws it onto the area, and a miracle happens. The corpse pops up, and he was able to mark off what area would be the area of the corpse. It's very interesting. Kol Hecha. I think Taisus may be learning different. Kol Hecha dahavi kashi tari v'chol Hecha dahavi rafi tzaine. Okay, the soil was dislodged, according to Rashi. But where was this person buried? That soil would have been softer, because that was dug up once. The other soil would be very hard. So any soil that was hard was clearly not the grave. Any soil that was soft was possibly the grave. So what he did was, any hard soil he said was tar, and the soft soil he put a barrier, a marker around it to say that's the grave. So therefore the Kohanim can walk anywhere except for the soft soil area, which was marked off. Amaru Saba. Now, this older person says, Tir ben Yechai Besakvaris. He says, sensational news. Shimba Yechai is being matar cemeteries, or cemetery. Amalei Ilmalei. Amalei, there's a difference on Malei with the aleph or with the yud. If not for, or if only. Ilmalei, I guess if the loy is there, that would make the difference. If not for the fact that Hayisim Manu, that you were with us when we did this work, we worked on this together, he tells the older person. And even if you were with us, but you weren't part of our agreement that this should be the way we could purify this area, so you could make a claim that maybe I didn't do it right. But you agreed to it, and you were there. So even prostitutes will braid each other's hair, even though they're competitors or whatever, but some sort of benefit from that each one will do this for the other one. I guess they can't braid it in the back, but Talmidei Chachamim can't support one another. I did this, you can't agree with me. There's always has to be put the other one down. So Yov be'einu v'nachnafshi looked at him and he died. Nafak l'shuka. He went out to the marketplace. Chazil Yehuda ben Gerim. He sees Yehuda ben Gerim. You remember Yehuda ben Gerim? He was the person that was on the side that happened to say it over, and the Romans heard about it. Amar Adayin Yishel Zabaylam. This person is still around. Nasam Bayenov. He looks at him, and Vaso Gal Shalatzamas, and he becomes a heap of bones. It's unclear the status of Yehuda ben Gerim. According to, there's other Gemaras where Reb Shimon Bar Yochai actually sent his son, Reb Elazar bar Shimon, to go get a bracha from Yehuda ben Gerim. Apparently, he was a great person, and it's strange why it ends like this. Yeah, Kabbalistically, there may be things with Gilgulim and different things, a tikkun or something, but Rashi learned before that he did not say it to the Romans. He told it to his students or the conversation, and they ended up saying it over. He wasn't malicious, getting Reb Shimon Bar Yochai in trouble. Okay. There's a new Mishnah. We're on 34. Hey. There's three things a person should say in his house on Friday afternoon when it's getting dark. You have to read that as a question. Has the meiser been taken? Iravtem? Has the Erev been made? In Hadliku es haner. We'll see which Erev and what we're talking about. And light the candles. Hadliku is the imperative. The other ones are questions. Hadliku es haner. Savik chashecha, savik eina chashecha. If it's in doubt, if it's dark already, ein maser nesavadi, it's too late to take meiser. Why? Because meiser is fixing food, and you're not allowed to fix the food on Shabbos. It has to be fixed before Shabbos. You don't fix utensils, or you don't fix tikkun mana. You can't take meiser on Shabbos. You also can't put kelim in the mikveh for the same reason. And you can't light the candles on Shabbos. And this is Safik Chashecha. It could be it's already Shabbos. However, if it's Bein Hashmashos, you can take meiser off the mai. The mai is produce that you bought from someone that's not trusted on meiser, and you, just to be sure, you take meiser. You can also make an erev during that time. We'll see what type of erev we're talking about. And you can also insulate your hot food. Fuel is expensive. They would heat up the food and then they would insulate it so that they didn't have to keep it on the fire. They would, the fire, they wouldn't have to add wood. They would wrap it in something that would keep it warm. And that you're allowed to do when it's getting dark. You're assuming that the Erev is, Dr. Stein is the guy on the ladder putting up you'll see. We'll see soon. Minahani Mili, how do we know that you have to do these things? Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Amar Kra. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says from the pasuk, you'll notice Rabbi Shua ben Levi darshans psukim. We have the Gemara Baba Kama that says Rabbi Shua ben Levi was the great in Agadata. He could darshan psukim. Anyway, here it's darshaning a pasuk. We had yesterday Rabbi Shua ben Levi Mikra. I was surprised that Rava quotes Rabbi Shua ben Levi, but okay. So the pasuk is the scholars claim that there's different areas that were more into darshaning psukim. The south of Eretz Yisrael and the south of Bavel were more into darshaning psukim. The north was less. You'll find less of that. But I don't know. You have to note a lot of things to see if that's accurate. I don't know. So he says the pasuk is v'yadat ki shalom alecha. You'll know that there's peace in your tent. Pakadata navech. Your pakadata means you command your navech. Is it navech or navecha? Navech v'lei sechta. Your living place, your abode, and you will not come to sin. Okay. So that's where we see that you have to command. You have to tell the family what to do. Amar Rabba bar Rav Huna, afagav damar rabbanon shleisha dvarim tzarech adam leimar. Rabba bar Rav Huna says that even though it says you have to tell your family what to do, but tzarech lememrina b'nichus, you have to say it softly, so that they should accept it from you. Otherwise, they'll say, no, you go do it, or something. No, you say it pleasantly. Please, is it okay? Can we have the Erev made? It's getting late. Why do you do it? Why don't you do it then and not earlier? Because then they'll just delay it. They'll postpone. They say, yeah, there's still a time. It's only 2:30. Shabbos isn't until 7. We have time. No, you want to say it at a time when they can't push it off. Amar Ravashi. Ravashi says, I never heard what Rabbi bar Rav Huna said, but I understood that that's the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to say it softly. Very interesting Gemara that Ravashi has to tell me that this is a limud from Rabbi bar Rav Huna, but he understood it on his own. Okay, now the Gemara says, Hagufa Kasha. Well, there's the self-contradiction over here. You're supposed to say it when it's getting dark. That means before it gets dark. It means once it starts getting dark, then it's too late. You can still make an Erev after it gets dark. Well, not after mamish, but while it's in that twilight zone. So you can still make an Erev. This is a very interesting Gemara because it's sort of, from the printer, it looks like it's leaving us with a question, but that's not accurate. It throws you off over here, the printer. The following, the answer is coming. Simin, Begufa, Zimra, Tzipra, Bechavla, the Malta probably, is a sign for the statements of Rab Abba in the name of Rechir Barashi Amarav. And we're about to get the answer, but it put it with those 2 dots in there just because it's a siman. But really, if you drop those 2 dots, that colon, And the Gemara just reads straight through it. It's supposed to read straight through it. It's not really a break in the Gemara. We have to answer the question: are you allowed to make an eruv after it's already gotten slightly dark? Amar Ababa, Amar Abchia Barashi, Amarav Leikasha. Kan be'eruv b'tchumen, kan be'eruv b'chatzeros. Depends. Eruv b'tchumen has a basis in the Torah. Eruv b'tchumen works like this. A person is allowed to walk around his city as much as he wants. If there's no eruv, you just don't carry, but you can walk. Once you leave the city, then there's 2,000 amas that you're able to walk. Maybe 70 amas outside the city, but there's 2,000 amas that you're allowed to walk. Now, you're able, let's say you want to walk from the city to the next small village or whatever, but the problem is it's slightly longer than 2,000 amas. What you're able to do is you're able to go Erev Shabbos Bein Hashmashos. You wait over there. And when Shabbos comes in, that's considered your shvisa. Now you have 2,000 amas to that direction, 2,000 amas back. You can go to your city, and that the whole city is like 4 amas. You're great over there. And you can go to the other city, and that whole city also is 4 amas. You have shvisa, you can have shvisa. Let's say you don't want to walk over there, so you can send someone else, or you don't want to wait there. You can go over there or send someone else to place food for you there. And that food is considered your shvisa, your kind of shvisa. That's your place of spending Shabbos. That gives you a wider circle, but you still have 2,000 amas, whatever side. But it puts your center, your epicenter, in a different location. So your 2,000 amas moves over. So that will give you. You can do it to one side only, of course. That has a basis in the Torah. That has to be done before Safek Chashecha, before it starts to get dark. Kan be'eruv b'chatzeros. Here we're talking about eruv b'chatzeros. Eruv b'chatzeros is you have a courtyard. Other people live in that courtyard. Other people have houses that in the Yeshira courtyard. You want to try to carry from your domain, your own private domain, into the area that's used by other people. So there's a concern. The Chacham made a decree. It looks like you're carrying from your private domain to a public area. It's not mamish a public area. It's just your apartment complex. So there's a rabbinic institution that someone they should join food together, a meal. You join together. In the city, it's a box of matzah that's put in one of the shuls. They do it Erev Pesach. That's the eruv that they set up. Notice all of us are participating. We're all really one family by putting in that food together. Makes us into one family. So when we're going to carry into the public area, it's really all our one large family that we're doing. Okay, so there's a difference between Erev Tchumen and Erev Chatzeros. Erev Chatzeros, because it's rabbinic, you have the later time. That's the way Rashi learns. Tosfos argues, or attempts to questions it. Wants to say it the other way. Okay, you'll see in the Gemara, it doesn't flow well the way we just explained it, the following Gemara. Via Amar Rava, and Rava also says, maybe it's Rabba, or Rava. Amar Leishnayim, if 2 people told someone, Seva Ariv Aleinu, place an eruv for us. So here's the messenger, he goes out. Le'achad eruv alav mid ba'odyayim. One of them, he placed the eruv here we're talking about, an eruv tchumen, so the person can walk. He placed it while it was still day. Okay, that's the location that he reached. The other one that needed the eruv somewhere, he placed it bein hashmashos. So unfortunately, the eruv got eaten, and it was still nechali ruva bein hashmashos. Got eaten bein hashmashos. Bein hashmashos is the twilight. He placed it by day. Now, depending on when Shabbos starts, could be that he's all set. The one that he placed the eruv bein hashmashos, nechali ruva me'eshachar shecha. The eruv got eaten right after it got dark. When it got dark? After it got dark. Shneim kana eruv. Both of them are acceptable. It's odd. Gemara says, "Mimanafshach." what's going on over here? If Bein Hashmashas is still day, Yimamahu, Zabasa Likni, then the second person's Erev is perfect because he put it there Bein Hashmashas. And okay, it got eaten after Shabbos started, but at the moment Shabbos began, it was good. But Kamalei Likni, the first person, he didn't even have an Erev there when Shabbos started. It was all Friday afternoon. It got eaten before it got dark, and that was still considered day. The Bein Hashmashas Laila, if twilight is already the night, then Kamal Likni, Basar Likni. Then the first person had an Erev there. The other person's Erev was placed after Shabbos started. So Mimanav Shach, you can't have both, can't have the cake and eat it too. You can't, right? So Bein Hashmashas, the Gemara says Sveka derabanan lakula. Bein Hashmashas is a suffix, and suffix derabanan, Erev Tchumen, derabanan is lakula. It's very odd that the Gemara does this. We just said Erev Tchumen is an issue. And so what's the Gemara doing over here? It's saying B'di'evet, even though, this is how we would learn this, even though you said that L'chatchila, you're not supposed to make an Erev after Bein Hashmashas, but B'di'evet, if you did, it works. That's how we'll resolve it. In other words, the Mishnah had a contradiction. Can you make the Erev Bein Hashmashas? The answer, we said, for Erev Tchumen, no. Comes along Rava and says, if you did, it worked. All right. That's the way, if you would learn it the other way, if you would learn that Erev Tchumen, you're allowed to do Bein Hashmashas, but Erev Chatzeres, you're not, because the Gemara didn't specify which one was going to it, then you could learn it and it would be nice, but Rashi doesn't learn it like that. Okay, Amar Rava, or Amar Rava, why are you not allowed to insulate food in materials that don't increase heat? Increasing heat is certain things, because certain materials, because of the decomposition, they give off heat as they're decomposing. So, like in compost, go out in the compost in the winter, if there's when you breathe, you see the air, you see your breath, you'll see the steam coming out of the compost. So it makes heat. It different things, salt or whatever. We'll have it later. But but there's other materials that don't increase heat. It's just insulation. Whatever heat is there, that's what it does. Like the thermos doesn't do anything. It's just whatever you put inside. So it's a davar she'ena ma'asav hevel. But misha chashecha, you're not allowed to insulate once Shabbos starts. Why not? You're not doing anything. The Gemara says shema yartiach, gzer shema yartiach. There's a problem if we let you insulate it. When do you want to put your food into your thermos? You want to make sure it's very, very hot before you put it in. We're going to allow you to insulate on Shabbos, even on something that doesn't increase the heat, you may boil it up to get it to the highest temperature before the insulation. That's a concern. So why are you allowed to do Hatmana Bein Hashmashas? That's a real suffix. You can't do things Bein Hashmashas. If it's you may end up heating it up. It's really not a problem because usually things are hot Bein Hashmashas. Okay. Amar Rava also says, things that increase heat, you're not allowed to do hatmana. Hatmana is insulate. You're not allowed to insulate in anything that increases heat. Practically, this would be to wrap a pot while it's on the fire because you're increasing the heat. It's not just wrapping a pot in a towel or a blanket. You have a source of heat that's coming to it, and you're doing hatmana, and there's heat that's doing it. They claim there was an issue with the hot water urns that have some sort of blanket that would go over it. They said that was an issue of hatmana because there's a heating element there. So you're not allowed to use, what we're referring to is not the heating element. We're referring to materials that the decomposition, the reactions in the material give off heat. But you're not allowed to do this even on Friday afternoon. Why? You may end up sticking your pot in remetz. And remetz is a mixture of ash and embers of the fire. And that's an insulation, and there's a problem there. Amalei abaya v'yatman, so what? It says, no, you might stoke it, and there could be embers there that you'll end up getting it hot, and that's going to be a problem. So even on Friday afternoon, you're not allowed to wrap it in, you're not allowed to insulate in anything that's meisav hevel, because you may end up being matmin beremetz. It sounds like exer, right? You may end up being matmin in remetz, and remetz you may end up stoking the coals. Okay, we're about to enter into a sugya that's quoted. This is the basis of it, I think. Maybe in Psachim it's a piece of it also. But this is the sugya of Bein Hashmashos. Famous issues. When is Shkia, Rabbi Tam, all of that, it's all over here. Okay. Tanu Rabbanan. Starting in a brayso, Bein Hashmashos. When it comes to Bein Hashmashos, which means between the suns, which means between the days. I think Chassidus would explain that Bein Hashmashos means that at night there's a type of light that's even higher than there's a light that's also shining. We just don't see it for whatever reason. We're not vessels. But so Bein Hashmashos, it's between the suns. So there's different types. Otherwise, you would just explain between the days. It's twilight. It's in between this day and the next day. Looking at 24-hour periods, not a 12-hour period. Safek min hayom min halayla. It's a doubt if it's day or night. Safek kula min hayom, safek kula min halayla. It's a doubt if it's entirely night. So therefore, matil naisay l'chaymer shnei yamim. You have to be machmer about it. That it's as if it's 2 days, as if it's day and night. You get the chumras of everything. We'll see soon. Bezer Bein Hashmashos, when is twilight? After the sun sets. As long as you see the sun sets in the west, so the east. If you look over Avram Nassan's beach over there, you see in the back, it's going to turn red.
Ask a question here. The Mishnah is talking about now this part Bein Hashmashos. What was the Mishnah talking about? Erev Shabbos. Is that Erev Shabbos? Bein Hashmashos? When he says Erev Shabbos, is that Bein Hashmashos?
It's supposed to be before Bein Hashmashos. Then it says Safek Hashecha, Safek and Hashecha. That's the Bein Hashmashos. That was our contradiction on the Erev.
So why would you get Chumras? It says it's going to be L'kula. A second ago, it says Sveika D'Rabbanan L'kula.
Yeah.
So this whole language now of getting the Chumras.
We'll see. Yeah, we're going to have some Deraisas. I think by the Deraisas, we're going to have some Chumras. I mean, that must be the answer. You'll see when at the end, that's the question again. Let's see it. So, Pnei Mizrach Madimin. What happens is usually when you look at the sunset. So usually they look at the area over the west where the sun is setting, and they see the colors that are coming up. But in truth, you turn around, you look at the east. Most people don't do this, but if you actually look at the east, you see. Thank you, Hafnasan. You see fabulous colors. Not over the west, over the east. You have to turn around. It's like counterintuitive, but if you turn around, you see different thing. Anyway, but what happened is when the sun sets, so the west is of course still light, but if it's still light to the extent that it's all light over the east as well, so then that's considered Bein Hashmashos. Mishatishkacham, after the sun sets, as long as it's still red. Hichsef hatachten b'li hichsef elyon. see later in the Gemara if it actually means the eastern side. That's the way we're explaining it here. Let's say the bottom of the east side got dark, but the upper part of the eastern side, the eastern horizon, is still bright because when the sun sets, so the light is still shining up. So you're getting the light still getting the higher part of the eastern side. So that's still considered bein hashmashos. The Gemara is going to ask, why didn't you put that all together? You should have said, if that's what you wanted to say. It seems like it's a contradiction. You just wanted to say bein hashmashos is kol zman shepnei mizrach madim, and now you tell me bein hashmashos is hichzef atachta. The Gemara will answer that. Hichzef elyon v'hishvel atachtan. Let's say the upper part of the eastern side is also turned dark. So then zeh laila, then it's already night. Rabbi Yehuda, that's the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is a famous opinion here in Bein Hashmashos, in the first daf of Brachas. Bein Hashmashos to Rabbi Yehuda, Bein Hashmashos to Rabbi Yosi. We have, those are big shitas here. Rabbi Nechemia, Omer, Kadeshi Alachadam Mishatishka Acham Chatzi Mil. Rabbi Nechemia says Bein Hashmashos is after sunset. The amount of time that it takes to walk half a mil, which is a mil is 2,000 amas, half a mil is 1,000 amas. Okay, they say it's 9 minutes or something. A meal would be 18 minutes, something like that. Rabbi Yosi Omer, Bein Hashmashos karafayin. Bein Hashmashos is not a prolonged amount of time. Zen nichnas v'zeh. It's like a blink of an eye. It's day and now it's night. It just switches. There's no time in the middle. You can't pinpoint exactly. I think that's what it means. Or maybe it means you can't pause at that time because it's right away happens. Amar Mar. Okay, we learned before. Matil Nesai l'chaymer shnei yamin. You put on in a chumrah of 2 days. L'may hilcha. So what does it mean that it has 2 days? Bein hashmashos. It's either one or the other. Mar says no, actually not. Amar Rav Yehuna Breder Rabbi Shua L'inyan Tuma. There's an interesting halacha that a zav, there's a zav of a woman, but a man is a zav. Could become a zav. If he has seeings, if he has a mission. Now, a woman needed to have 3 times, a woman needed to have shleishariyas to become tameh for 7 days, right? That's how it worked. A man needs 2 times to become tameh for 7 days, but if he's going to bring a karban, then he has 3 riyas. Okay. Now, interesting thing is we said that the woman has 3 days. It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. She's 3 consecutive days. She becomes a zava gedai, let's call it. By a man, it doesn't have to be 3 days. It could be 3 emissions in 1 day. However, there's also a chumrah that we add on the man that we learned from the woman, that if the man sees throughout the twilight, or that's considered, even though it's one seeing, it's considered like 2 days, it counts as 2. It's a chumrah. Okay, here we have our answer. You see that? Yeah, it's counted as 2 days. Kiditanan, as it was taught in a Mishnah, it was a huge jump over here. We went from in the Amar Rav Huna Breder Rabbi Shua L'inyan Tuma. Rav Huna Breder Shua is the end of the Amarayim. But he quotes a Mishnah. It says, Rosh Yamin Bein Hashmashos is, if he sees 2 days Bein Hashmashos, let's say Sunday, Monday. Sunday he sees Bein Hashmashos, and Monday he sees Bein Hashmashos. Sunday night and Monday night. So Safek L'Tumah L'Karban. So Safek could be that it's counted as 3 days. Could be it's counted as Sunday and Tuesday. And there's a day in the middle that breaks the whole system. So there's a suffix for Tumah. Maybe it's not even Tameh as a Zav. And maybe there's no Karban because could be it's 3 days. Or could be it's really only 2 days. Could be Sunday was really Monday. And Tuesday, and the Monday night was really Tuesday. So you only saw 2 days. Could be it was Sunday night was really Monday and the Monday night was really Monday, but that's okay. because that would still make him tummy, because he saw twice. But he wouldn't have a carbon. So there's all these doubts in there because of the Bein Hashmashas. Then that's just Safek L'Tuma. Could be that it's already, that part of it was by day, part of it by night, and that we know that divides it up into two seeings. Like just because we learned from a woman is tummy by days, that's considered two. Gemara says, Agu Fakasha, 1 second. You have a problem with that brisa that you quoted. First he said what's considered Bein Hashmashas, as long as the eastern side is red, but once the lower part of the eastern horizon is darkens, sounds like Lila. It says the whole eastern side needs to be red. But then you teach, we mentioned this contradiction as we will learn. It's the diuk is contradicting. The diuk of the beginning of the brisa is that once it begins to dark, it's already nighttime. Then you continue on. You say, no, beginning to dark, the lower part gets dark. It's Bein Hashmashas. Amar Rabba, I'm going to have two answers here. Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef. Each one are going to say it in the name of Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. So Amar Rabba, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Karach V'tani. You have to join it together. Don't put the comma there yet. You have to read it as a longer sentence. Ezel Bein Hashmashas. What is considered Bein Hashmashas? Mishatishka chama kol zman shepnei mizrach madim vehechsef hatachtan v'loyechsef elyon nami Bein Hashmashas. What is Bein Hashmashas? From the time that the eastern side is red, and even if it gets dark on the bottom but not on the top, it's also Bein Hashmashas. However, hechsef elyon v'shel hatachtan is Laila. Once the upper part already darkens, so then it's the nighttime. Rav Yosef Amar, Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Rav Yosef says different. He says, Hachiktani, Misha Tishkach HaMakol Zman Shepnei Mizrach Madim is Yoim. If it's entirely red, that's still day. The sun set, but it's still day. The sky is still light. It only becomes Bein Hashmashas when the lower part is dark. But if the upper part is also dark, that's Laila. Now the Gemara says that Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef follow their opinions. The Itmar was taught, Shir Bein Hashmashas Bekama. How long is Bein Hashmashas? Rabbi's is slightly longer. He starts it from Shkia. Rabbi Yosef, I'm sorry, not Rabbi Yosef. Rav Yosef, not Rabbi Yosef. Rav Yosef starts it a little later. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Shleisha Chelki Mil. Amar Rabba Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Shleisha Chelki Mil. Rabba says that it's 3 portions of a mil. He says, my Gimel Chelki Mil. What is 3 portions of a mil? This is where the denominator becomes very important. You don't know three of what, right? So ilema tzlasa palgimila, maybe it means 3 halves. So name a mil mechza. So why do you say 3 portions? Say a mil and a half, because 3 halves would be a mil and a half. So ella tlasa tilsi mila. No, it's not. Can't be 3 halves. We're talking about 3 thirds. The Gemara says 3 thirds. So name a mil. So that's a mil. 3 thirds. 3 thirds is 1. Is a mil. Ella tlasa rivi mila. No, it's 3/4. 3/4 of a mil. Okay. Rabbi Yosef Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Shnei Chelki Mil. He says that it's 2 portions of a mil. This is Rabbi Yosef. His was slightly shorter. Ma'isnei Chelki Mil. What are 2 portions of a mil? Eily Matrei Palgi Mil. Maybe it's 2 halves. Lema Mil. 2 halves is a whole. Ella Trei Rivi Mila. Maybe it's 2/4. Lema Chatzi Mil. So that's 2/4 is a half. Ella Trei Tilse Mil. It's really 2 thirds of a mil. Okay. So 2 thirds of a mil. So now we have 3/4 to 2 thirds. So 3/4 to 2/3. What's the difference between 3/4 and 2/3? My binayu. What's the difference between the two? Binayu, palga de danka, a half a sixth. A half a sixth is a 12th. So the way it works is like this: that 2/3. Guess you times it by 4. So that would be 12. Then the denominator, 2/3 would be 8 over 12. 8/12. 8/12. That's 2/3, right? 3/4, you times it by 3. So that would be, the denominator would be 12, and it would be 9 over 12. So the difference between Rabbah and Rabbi Yosef is a half a sixth. Palga de danka, a half a sixth. It's a 12th. Right? Okay, so that's the whole difference. The chilufa bechalta, and they said the opposite amounts when it came to a basket. This is all parenthetical. It's not beinush mashas, what we're saying. It just happens to be a machlekes Rabbi Rabbi Yosef. They use terms to 3/4, 2/3. They switch the shita when it comes to a basket. Damar Rabba, chalta bastre kuri share little tule. The way it works is that a utensil needs to be movable to be considered a utensil. You have a big break front or something, a big box, a big vessel that's not movable. It holds too much. So that's considered muktzah. It's not something, it's not a utensil. It's not meant to be moved around. So Rabbah says that if I have a basket that holds 2 kur, a kur is 30 sa, 2 kur is 60 sa, that you can move around. But bastlasa kuri, if it holds 3 kur, that's also too late. That's too big. And that's not considered a utensil. It's muktzah. Rabbi Yosef Amar, bastlasa kuri namishari, basarba kuri is asr. If it's 4 kur, it's asr. Okay, so he has a larger measurement. What are we saying over here? That he says 4, and he says 3. So that we're comparing the 3, 4, 4 and 3 that we said before. We're comparing Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef. Say it over here. Amar Abaya, boy minei demar. B'shas ma'isa. Abaya says that I asked Rabba. Mar means Rabba for Abaya. I asked the master, Rabba, I needed to move something. And I asked him, Afilabas Trey Kuri, like Shirley, he didn't allow me to move even if it was 2. Come on, who does that go like? Kaitana. Goes like the following opinion. The Tanana was taught in a Mishnah, Kaveris Akash, Kaveris Akanim, Ubar Sfina Alexandris, Afpish Yeshalem Shalayim. A Kaveris is means a hive, but it's a basket that's made out of straw or a basket that's made out of reeds. A borsfin alexandris is a pit, a cistern that they would take on the boat to have fresh water. The boat that goes over salty waters, you need to have a water supply. So it was a large pit. So it has a bottom, which means that it's a utensil that could be moved, but nevertheless, it's very big. Is memsa, if it can hold 40 sa, which is a little bit over a kur, balach, shehim kurayim biyavish, it's 2 kur. You see, a kur is 30 sa. So, a salad, you can pile up a salad higher than you can pile up a liquid. You can stuff the basket more with a salad because you can get it to go over, and you can still use it. You can still hold it, but the liquid you can't. Once you have that whatever it's called, meniscus thing, so you just get a little bit. Okay, so two core of a dry measurement is not considered a vessel. So that's what Rabbi told to Abaya. Amar Abaya, Shma Mina. We see from here, Hai Gudsha Tilsa Havi. We see that the Gadish, what gets piled up, is a third. Why? Because 40 sa turns into 60 sa. So that's 1/3. 40 sa of lach could be 60 sa of yavish. 60 sa is 2 core, 30 sa each. What gets piled up is a third. Maybe this is what they told me. It's a shlish b'mitzvah. You're supposed to add a third for a mitzvah, third of the price. Let's say an esrog or something. So whatever the price is, you add a third for hider mitzvah. Where do we learn this from? Zekeli van veyo. We learn it from, it says in the Oz Yasher, Zekeli van veyo, you have to beautify the mitzvahs. How do you get a third from that? It doesn't say a third. So someone explained, I saw this Shvili Pinchas, he explained that really they could have split the sea, Hashem could have split the sea, that we would have to go down into the water. It would have been this like big trek down to the bed of the river, of the sea. But he didn't do that. He hardened the bottom and he split the top. That way we could just walk straight, like a bridge. You know, you walk straight over the thing. So the splitting was the third. The splitting, because the Gedusha, the water, apparently, there's a Gemara that says that from certain angles, if you look at the ocean or the tide, it looks like it's a third over the dry land. But anyway, okay, so you get the third from. Amar Abaya Chazi l'Rava. Abaya sees Rava, the Kadavi l'Marav. He's looking at over the west. That's not how you check for Bein Hashmashos. You have to look at the east. He says you have to look over the east to see if it's red. You think it means the east? It means the west that shines to the east. You have to look over the west and see if it's able to shine to the east. Now that could be explained that it's there's other factors there that you need to factor in. It could be that it's cloudy, this and that. If you look at the west, you'll see more clearly what those factors are. Some said it the other way, that Rabbi Chazi la Abaya the Kadav Mizrach, that Abaya was looking over the east. And Rabbi tells him, Mi Savas Pani Mizrach Mamish Panim Madim Mas Mizrach. It's the area that shines to the east, which is the west. You have to look the other way, Rabbi says. V'simanach kavsa. A siman is a window. That the west is like a window. The sun shines through the window to the east.